in the test prep.
Well, on a daily basis, we are going to be recording single variable data, such as temperatures. We're going to be recording chemistries, water chemistries in the tanks, and the amount of food and how much and how many times we're going to be giving the food. Also, we have to look at salt concentrations specifically for our CUDA seahorses. So if there's too high of a salt concentration in the water, we'll have to dilute that. And if there's not enough salt, then we can add in more.
On a daily basis, we also have to think about biodensity in our aquariums. So that's basically the amount of fish in relation to the volume of water in the aquarium. So when we receive fish on a shipment, we can't just put as many fish as we want in a tank. We have to know how many we should put in, and that depends on the species. So the first thing we would do is look up on the internet and scientific literature the standards for different species. And for our CUDA seahorses specifically, it's 1 adult CUDA seahorse for 10 liters of water. So that's how we know how many seahorses to put in there. But for different species as well, there's aggressive fish versus community fish. So some fish are more aggressive. They don't like crowding, so we would put fewer fish in an aquarium in that instance. And community fish are happier in large groups, so we can put more fish in an aquarium. But we also have to be careful not to overcrowd any species so that we don't have an excess ammonia levels or nitrogen levels, and we make sure that there's enough oxygen for all the fish to breathe and be able to live. So when we're breeding our CUDA seahorses, one of the first things we have to think about is, again, density. We have to think about how many we're putting in there, as well as the sex ratio, so the ratio of males to females in an aquarium. So for our seahorses, it's pretty straightforward. It's 1 male to 1 female, but that's not true for all species. Our African cichlids, for example, could be 1 male to anywhere from 6 to 12 females. Basically, we're choosing which seahorses to breed from our population of seahorses. So of all the seahorses we have here at the zoo, we choose which ones to breed. But instead of just putting 1 male and 1 female together, we might put 5 males and 5 females together in an aquarium to allow an element of randomization. So we put them together, we've adjusted all those things, and then they breed, hopefully they breed, and we watch for that. And it takes about 12 to 23 days for the fry to hatch out. So from this data on the spreadsheets that we collect, so whether it's temperature or water chemistry or water changes, we can take all that data and we can generate graphs and charts, and we use those to track any changes over time. So for example, with our temperatures, we can graph temperatures over a week, we could graph them over a month, or we could graph them over an entire year. And this is really important, especially if we do it over a full year, because it'll give us an idea of seasonal changes that occur.
So outside of the zoo, we're going to be using any of the data we've collected here, and we're going to give it to institutes such as Project Seahorse. Once that data is given to Project Seahorse, any other institutes can also get that information from them. So anytime that we do something different with breeding, or we find a suitable temperature or some new food that's good for them to eat, we'll give that information to Project Seahorse, and then on a whole, all institutes will be able to learn that information. Here at the zoo, one of the requirements to actually obtaining a zoo is to have either college or university experience, so getting a certificate or a diploma or a degree. Most of these places are requiring you to have your 11 or grade 12 math. So by completing your math in high school, it's going to give you a better chance to getting into the college and universities, and then you'll have the experience and the information you'll need to get a job here at the zoo. Especially since all the stuff we're doing here, it all includes the math that you'll be learning in your grade 11 and 12 high school.